Assassin's Creed Odyssey is an incredible game. One of the most incredible games I have ever played and easily one of the best within the franchise. It's special because it portrays a time and period that is not often shown within video games or even movies and TV shows, with Odyssey being set in the classical Greek period and featuring a lot of mythological and legendary topics, subjects and references. To me, it, and to a certain degree Origins, stand out as unique and special games within the Assassin's Creed franchise.
The magnificent excitement of that legendary time when men like gods and gods like men lived and loved violently.
The atmosphere of this game is simply incredible and mind-blowing. Aside from AC Origins, I have never played or experienced a video game that had such insane and amazing visuals portraying the ancient world. I mean, the entire game, no matter where you turn, feels like a neoclassical or Victorian painting depicting that time. Despite the game not being entirely mythological, it gives off a mythical and mythological atmosphere. You feel like the gods are watching you, and even the sky has a certain divine element to it. So far so that I easily imagine Zeus or Apollo watching my every move in action.
Jason and the Argonauts, the classic story of an epic voyage that has been told and retold since the birth of Western civilization.
The developers put an insane amount of work into designing this world, and I couldn't help but run around with an open mouth, admiring all of the buildings, statues, temples, and cities. Not to mention the hours of work that must have gone into basically creating a video game version of Greece. The first time I started walking up towards the Acropolis in Athens, it honestly felt like I was on a pilgrimage because of its layout, the ancient background music, and all of the statues and buildings being larger than life. As you walk up there, you are sort of forced to look at the sky, and at that point it was a mix between dark clouds and blue sky. Then coming closer and closer to the Parthenon, being greeted by a massive statue of Athena surrounded by temples to various other Olympic gods and deities, I genuinely felt amazed at what I was seeing. And it's hard to put into words for me, but being a massive fan of ancient history, especially ancient Greek mythology, I always felt drawn to games that managed to portray this time period or subject matter.
It must have been the wind.
And I also never really cared whether or not it was historically accurate, which is why I never cared about all the people complaining about Assassin's Creed lack of historical accuracy, which I feel was never Ubisoft's goal to begin with.
Here, in Olympian scope and vastness, is the sweeping saga of the mortal struggle between the legions of imperial Greece and the forces of impregnable Troy.
Whether or not its depiction was accurate or not never bothered me, because I don't play video games to get informed about history. If I want to learn some historically documented facts, I will read a book or find other reliable sources rather than a video game that also features godlike space aliens and artifacts. That's of course not to say that the gameplay or the story in Odyssey is bad. The story is honestly very well made and acted, and it also genuinely feels like an actual Odyssey. The game definitely stays true to its name. In many aspects, the entire story feels straight out of something like the Iliad or the actual Odyssey, and the main character, in my case Alexios, has a lot in common with ancient Greek mythological figures. He has traits from Odysseus and Achilles, something that becomes evident in fights because fighting animations are over the top and very demigod-like, which of course makes sense as Alexios is supposed to be an actual demigod. I will be honest, as a massive mythology nerd, I was constantly role-playing Odysseus and Achilles, and the game makes this very easy, especially since you can get armor that's literally called Achilles armor, or also make your character look like Achilles from the movie Troy. Whenever I was in battle, I enjoyed splicing through all of my enemies and feeling like an unstoppable force, like I was Achilles leading the Myrmidons storming the beaches of Troy.
You know what's there? Waiting, beyond that beach. Immortality! Take it! It's yours! like a pig.
The fighting system here is neither original nor groundbreaking, but it doesn't have to be. It's fast, fun, and simple. And honestly, I don't know anyone who's ever bought Assassin's Creed games specifically for their fighting systems, and the franchise also never tried to be particularly groundbreaking in that area. It was always very simple and straightforward, which is absolutely fine and not an issue at all in my opinion. Ubisoft can be criticized for a lot of things, in particular awful business practices, but world building and atmosphere as well as attention to details are not among those things.
Clash of the Titans. The good. The evil. The danger.
Within those areas, in my opinion, Ubisoft is among the best developers out there because they have a special talent for recreating past eras to an incredible degree. I don't know any other franchise that gave me the option to explore ancient Greece or Egypt to such an intimate and immersive level. And the same can be said about most other titles within the franchise. To me, Assassin's Creed has always felt like virtual tourism, and Odyssey in particular has ended up being one of the most immersive experiences I had ever had playing a video game. The world here is filled with things to see, be it amazing cities full of incredible architecture or the countryside filled with ancient tombs, mythological monuments, and other references. I personally would have loved if the game had gone all the way when it comes to the mythology. As things stand, in this regard, it feels a bit like the game can't decide what it wants to be, a historic game or a mythological one. Because mythology and mysticism definitely play a very large role here.
We're only mortal, and the gods like to remind us whenever they can.
Alexios is a full believer of the gods, although he's not too superstitious and often calls people out on their bullshit. He often references mythological stories, events, or characters when you explore a legendary or famous location, or even when there is a storm at sea. And there are locations that are taken straight out of mythology, not to mention the ability to fight a few mythological creatures such as the Minotaur or Medusa. But at the same time, the game also tries to stay somewhat grounded and avoids fully venturing into these mythological directions, which I personally think is unfortunate, as it would have definitely stood out within the Assassin's Creed franchise, and honestly, it's not like these games were ever grounded in reality or without fantasy elements to begin with. That said, I think it's awesome that at least when it comes to the DLC, the game went full on mythology with the inclusion of Elysium, Hades, and Atlantis, similar to Origins with the Curse of the Pharaohs.
Claims a story of mighty events that will forever echo along the corridors of time.
Another aspect I have to mention are the fine details. A lot of the interiors or exteriors, in particular those of religious sites, have very detailed art that depicts various scenes from legendary stories or the gods and heroes, and it all looks very authentic and real. I have spent so much time just walking around temples admiring all the art and beauty that is presented here. This, coupled with the lighting the game uses, makes everything not only cinematic but also otherworldly. The lighting system in this game, and I'd honestly say in most recent Assassin's Creed games, is just phenomenal, and it's clear that a lot of work and time went into perfecting it. In particular, Origins and Odyssey are heavily impacted by this in my opinion, because the light sort of sets the atmosphere and feeling of these games. It harmonizes with the locations the games take place in and makes the visuals stand out even more. While you explore, there will also always be ancient Greek inspired background music that blends perfectly with whatever you're currently doing. The music is honestly one of the very rare cases where I have never felt the need to turn it down or turn it off. Usually, after investing many hours into a game, I get tired of the background music, especially within open world games. I then turn it down or off, and it's often a good thing because then you can enjoy and appreciate the great sound design of the open world in question, such as paying more attention to your character's footsteps on different grounds, the wind howling, etc. But in Odyssey, I never felt the need to do that, at least not yet, and I've easily invested over 200 hours into the game so far. I think it's mainly because of how well the music blends in the background and fits to whatever location you're exploring or whatever situation you'll find yourself in. It's simple, but also complex and varied. To me personally, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is a love letter to ancient Greece, ancient Greek mythology, and legends. It's an incredible game, heavily layered, and it offers so many cool things to experience and see.
You'll regret it if